Hello, everyone. It's 𝗨𝙗𝙤𝙗𝗂 with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. I'm super excited to have Eric Dadmir, who's Eric the Healer, known as Eric the Healer.
Hello, everyone. It's 𝗨𝙗𝙤𝙗𝙗 with
off.
Unleashing Intuition Secrets. I'm super excited to have Eric Dadmir.
All right. Sorry about that. It goes into Zoom, and Zoom starts its own program, so I have to shut it down. So yeah, I'm glad to have you on, Eric. We met at the Las Vegas at the 5D event. That was a really great time. You have an amazing background. We'll talk a little bit about that, and we'll talk about secret space program stuff, and you can talk about you have such amazing deep insights into healing and stuff like that. So there's a lot we can talk about. I'm sure we'll probably have in more shows together, but we'll build a foundation right now. Can you talk a little bit about your what you're doing right now, and maybe a little bit about your past in Iran?
Yes. Well, what I'm doing right now, as Eric the Healer whistleblower, is my last. I don't know if I told you, but I'm the guy who's giving information, the insider, to some other people about the weapons. There's a ammunition room underneath my building at Department of Public Health. And just by chance, we have today off. It's, happy Hail Caesar. It's Cesar Chavez Day. So state employees are off. So I had to go mail a letter, and I went down in the loading dock, and one of the cute inspectors that I know, she went and opened the ammo room. So I kind of hung back to get a peek in there. And I said, "Oh, do you need me to get the door for you?" and whatever. I took a peek in there, and what scared me is the room that is usually filled to the ceiling with hollow point bullets was empty. It was almost emptied. I did a double take, and I was like, holy shit, all that ammo is out and to be used, like they were getting ready for something. So, and I hate to use fear porn or get people scared, because I know that the military's in control and we got this, but they definitely were planning something, just like I saw back in the 80s and early 90s, that they've been trying to do this way back then. I saw, and people thought I was crazy talking about forced vaccinations and all this Illuminati, and but I grew up, my family is actually one of these 13 dragon families, which I think you're part of too, because
right.
Thanks for letting me feel the back of your skull. But that bump is a dragon skull. And we have royal blood, and that's why they use us for the secret space program, because we have ancient DNA that they need to fly the ships and to communicate lightning fast. And we receive a lot of psychic pictures and stuff, and we send them. We're both good receivers and senders. We send them quickly, so people know exactly what they have to do. And I think you're a captain like me. It takes one to know one. You're not. I don't think you're part of the normal Space Force. I think you're part of the ones that we go out into deep space where everybody else is scared to, and we are. I think we're starting new places and colonizing and stuff. But we'll talk about that later. Anyway, I just wanted to throw it out there that I saw this ammo room that had hollow point bullets. Why in the hell do 4 agencies that are taking this ammo from the loading dock need hollow point bullets? Is it illegal to have hollow point? Is it legal for the police and CHP to have hollow point bullets? I mean, I don't know. Anyway, that's what they were, and they're gone now. So I'm a whistleblower. I work at Food, Drug, and Radiation Safety, and they haven't promoted me for a long time. I was the go-to guy for everything. They took away my jobs one by one, and now I'm just doing the mail. They wanted me to go, but I love doing the mail because I get to snoop and see all the things that are going on, and I get to see who has what. I get to see those direct energy weapon Lockheed Martin planes paying their, for their radioactive materials license, and I get to see a lot of things that and I'm in charge of the records retention. So I know all the records of the past radioactive spills and what's still bad and what we're cleaning up. And so, yeah. And, we should be warning people about a radioactive Earth, just like that song Imagine Dragons says, I'm radioactive. We're all radioactive. And we think we get colds and flus, but really we're getting radiation sickness, and it's mimicking a cold or a flu with the same symptoms. So we have to treat it as if we have radiation sickness. And that's why I kept talking about oil pulling, because when you oil pull your mouth with coconut oil, it detoxes radiation. So, and also I was talking about urine therapy, but you can't just do urine therapy without being really healthy and alkaline, so, but as they tell the Marines, you can live a week on your urine alone. And they tell the Secret Forces guys, they can live a month on your urine alone. But the reality is you can live hundreds of years. That's how the Chinese live so long, but you have to be in a healthy state to use it. So that's what Dr. Robert Young was saying. It was really a treat having him, listening to him, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that guy's amazing. He really exposed a lot of stuff, stuff that we can't really talk about so much on this channel.
Yeah,
I've lost a channel already. I had over 200,000 subscribers, so rebuilding. Yeah. But we can drop little tidbits here and there. I think we do a pretty good job of that. And so
we're flying.
Yeah, amazing the stuff that you're disclosing even right now. So let's look at your lifetime when you're in Iran.
I was born in Sacramento, and then my dad wanted me to meet my well, actually, before I was born, I hate to, I don't know how people are comfortable saying this, but my dad was having sex with my mom when I was in my mom's stomach. And it was bothering me being jabbed, with a penis, And I think that's how they make the multiple personalities, by terrorizing, kids and to make them into soldiers, super soldiers or whatever. But I remember being so pissed off. And when my dad went to sleep, I actually kicked him through my mom's stomach, and he kicked him out, and he fell out of bed. And my mom showed me the stomach.
Good.
Yeah. And my mom showed me her stomach, and she said, really, you did that? And then when I was born, she said I was standing up, looking around, all the kids are sleeping in the infirmary. I was holding the side of the crib, and you could see the muscles of my neck, she said, and I was looking around, like, where am I? And so I don't know if I'm a walk-in but I know we're hybrid. But after this, I just wanted to throw that in before I was born. I just wanted to say I've been aware all my life and awake. And
I have memories of being in the womb as well. That's
yeah. See, that's what I wanted to hear from you. And then so we went to Iran, and I met my Iranian family, and it was very different because they use their eyes and body. They have eye management, and they have body language that I picked up on, and they talk with their eyes without saying things. And they're very intuitive with speaking. And there's a lot of sayings in the language that talks about these things and links it. So it was very educational to have perspective of a different culture that's completely different and coming from two diverse backgrounds. My mom being a full-blooded Norwegian, born and raised in Norway, and my dad being full-blooded Iranian, born and raised in Iran. So growing up there, when I was about, then we came back, and my sister was born in America. Then we went back to Iran. So I went there.
Okay, so you went. That's what I want to get to. So you said you have memories of that they had a coup d'etat in Iran in 1953, where they took down. They did, and that was Dr. Motsadegh.
Yeah, that's very interesting because I've been friends with the Zahedi family, and the Ardashir Zahedi was the general, and my uncle Abdul Reza Ansari was the Shah's right-hand man. And so I grew up going to embassy parties and meeting ambassadors from around the world, and actually sitting on Rothschild and Rockefeller laps and being pinched and all that, So I know exactly what they talk about when they say pedophiles and whatever. But growing up in Iran, Dr. Motsadegh, see, my friend's mom was the lady who went inside the house and got the gun from Dr. 𝗏𝙗𝙗, so he wouldn't, because his wife told her where the gun was, so that he wouldn't use it and kill him, get himself killed. So they took out a democratically elected president, Dr. 𝗏𝙗𝙗, and they put in the CIA puppet Shah. Okay,
Right.
but so he was a CIA puppet.
What I wanted to share real quick is that I've been identified as being Mohammed. I can't pronounce it like you do. Mossadegh. So
Mohammed.
Yes.
Reza Shah Pahlavi.
Yes. So I've been identified as him. I mean, when I look at
𝗏𝙗𝙗, huh? 𝗏𝙗𝙗. You were, wow.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the facial similarities.
Yeah.
If you look at him.
Oh my God. I never even, I can see it. Wow.
Right. So, and it's funny too, because when I started driving, I used to be so pissed off about the gas prices. So all my life I've been like that. So of course the CIA and MI6 came in and took him out because that's what they want to control the oil, because he basically nationalized the oil industry.
Yeah, that was the Anglo-Saxon petroleum that later became British petroleum. See, and it was a British rule. See, just like British rules, you know, that's why they say that the sun never sets in England in the empire, because Britain owns all around the world. So the sun's always there, you know, and they are responsible for, they were getting 9 times more money than the Iranians were. So as soon as the Shah wanted to nationalize the oil and help the people, they had to take him out and put in, just like, see, we're warring with all the countries that don't have the Rothschild banking system. Right. And the ones that are left are the ones that don't have the Rothschild banking. And as soon as they want to, you know, make their, you know, not use the petrodollar and use the gold-backed system, then they're taken out. And see, that's what Trump just did, is he kicked out those banksters, and there, I guess today it's over. The contracts are over and they have to pay up, and they can't lie and say they have silver or whatever, you know, fractional reserve banking. So, you know, I am so happy. And people are like, you know, I'm really happy this pandemic happened, because people are saying, oh my God, I've been waiting all year. Well, we've been waiting since the 80s or 60s even, you know, so we've been waiting all our life for this. And we needed this wake up red pill moment to wake people up.
No doubt. Good point, Eric.
Yeah.
So, you've had a very amazing background. So eventually, after leaving Iran, if you want to say any more about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I left Iran and to get my sister born in America, but then we came back again quickly. So I spent about a total of 5.5, 6 years in Iran. So I came back with my sister, and then.
So I'll like, you know, give you some kudos here, because when you were like, I think I read your background, you even mentioned some of this to me. When you're like 6 or 7 years old, you're helping your mother.
Yes.
Iranians English and grading papers. You're like you're like a brilliant guy, like beyond belief. So well,
it you know, when you're a little kid, your mind's a sponge, and it was really easy for me to learn Farsi because I kept asking questions and learning, and I was using my psychic ability to learn what they were trying to say and learn. You know, it helped. So I learned Farsi quickly, and and my mom would take me to her classes because she wanted me to help her translate. She didn't understand what they were saying, and she had to, some of the students that were learning to speak English. So I helped her translate what they were trying to say. And then my English became better because I was learning Farsi and teaching. When you teach, you learn more yourself. Just like when I was teaching martial arts, I was also learning more, you know, because it forces you to, you know, put it in a step by step and break it down, and you get to see each part. So
good point.
Yeah. So it was really good to help her teach English as a foreign language.
That's amazing, because I've studied Farsi for when I was in the SEAL teams, and then when I was in the CIA. That is not an easy language at all. That's one of the hardest.
It's one of the hardest languages besides Mandarin and Cantonese. That's why the CIA, when they asked me several times, they said that they wouldn't have to train me. They said I was a walk-in. They said that I would actually be training others maybe. And because they were so excited that I spoke Farsi, and even though I was illiterate, I couldn't read or write because I stopped learning Farsi in 2nd grade and studied only 3rd grade English. So because we're coming back to America, and they said you were, and then I studied martial arts at the Academy of Bruce Lee, started with Dan Inosanto. So I was a gifted mixed martial artist, and I knew Farsi. They said they said we don't know why it's so hard to get Persian speaking people. So we're offering all these other people 75,000, but we're offering you 100,000, and that's just starting pay. It's going to go up fast, they said. And I said, well, the CIA is dirty. I said, you know what? The reason why you don't have Farsi speakers is because in school, the first thing they teach you is that the CIA came to Iran first in '53. And they wanted all the kids to know that, little kids in kindergarten, first grade, they're learning about the CIA, coming. They said they want our oil and they want our gold and they want our saffron and we have a beautiful ancient culture and they want to control us. And so I knew ahead. So I said, you guys are dirty. I don't want to work with you. He says, well, you can come in the CIA and clean it up. And I laughed. I said, yeah, I can also clean it up from out.
It doesn't work. No.
Yeah, I laughed. I said, and then I thought of something smart, being a smart ass. I said, can you smoke pot, marijuana? This was in the 80s now. Okay. I said, can you smoke pot in the CIA? They go, no, do you smoke pot? I said, I want you writing down there that that the CIA wants Eric smoking pot. So that was funny. And I didn't, I, of course, like you, I heard you say what I did. I loved James Bond growing up and watching. I met all the James Bonds in real life, and I told them how much I loved them. I even met John Barry, who made the James Bond music. And John Barry was an excellent, he made many great songs. But I really loved that James Bond so much, and I wanted to be a secret agent. But I think that's why we both agreed to work as secret agents on the secret space program, because we have to agree on some level, so we love that agent stuff. But I love being underestimated all my life and laying low. And, my friends get famous and do things, and I'm just laying low and flying under the radar because they just took down my LinkedIn account for sharing too much. And when you told me you lost your accounts, I said, good, that means you're doing the right things, Yeah.
But you can only do so much, and then you get hammered and you can't share as much. So you have to be you have to be like very James Bond like, very secretive and move around in those areas. So you came back, and eventually now you had an amazing, I guess we could call it almost a career at UCLA. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh, wow. When I was in Sacramento, I came back to, when we came to Iran, we came back from Iran in '71. We went back to Sacramento, and my friends came from all over the world to Sacramento too, instead of living in other places, because it was a good, cheap living and nice people. And then they found out that one of the teachers in my school, they said to my parents, Eric is kind of slow. He seems like, we need some extra teachers or something. And both my parents laughed and said, Eric teaches us. He takes people out and shows them, tours. He said, he's just bored. So they sent me to a psychologist from Johns Hopkins, and they tested me. My IQ was off the scale. And so they pulled me out of that school and they put me in this gifted program, which turned out to be the mind control program, MK Ultra. They called it rapid learner, mentally gifted minded. And then later they called it the GATE program. But really, it was, I had a German teacher fresh out of Germany, Shirley Patch. So we learned some German, but I didn't put it together back then that it was the Nazi, because MK is control for K, in German, mind control. They definitely were them, because they want the best minds. And I thought they wanted us, but they didn't want us. They wanted our DNA. We had a field trip to Stanford, SRL, Stanford Research Lab, which is also CIA. And they swabbed and took our DNA. And I didn't realize it at the time what they were going to use it for, but I knew. They were surprised that I knew back in the 70s that I knew they were taking our DNA. Yeah. They said, oh, you know what we're doing. I said, yeah, you're taking our DNA.
Stanford probably has more people come from Stanford into the CIA than any other university.
Well, they told me why they ask people on campuses if the language lab is because it's math and language, is because they have the smartest people in those sections of the on campus. So they're always looking for, but see, they didn't, when they couldn't get me and I said no, they got my DNA, and I know they made clones of me to use to train, like the Janissary army in Turkey, where they had all those orphans. It's like that. They're making their own army with the DNA of test tube babies. And they wanted our DNA because, it's ancient, and they got, but I'm glad they did that, because I know that whatever they're making of me, if I was God, I'd send a bunch of people like us down here, to kick ass and get right back to God, And
you're kicking ass in the womb. You're like kicking your dad out of bed. So yeah, you're perfect martial artist,
Yeah. So I'm telling you, we got big spirits, and I'm told you probably, like me, fly at night as a dragon, and because I've shocked some people, and friends have told me, the feedback of people who saw me at night, when they were awake with these other people, they saw me and they said, oh my God, we saw you. And then other people come up to me at these conferences that are spiritual, and they tell me, your dragon's right in my face, and then I was at Contact in the Desert, and this blood drinker came up to me and wanted to pay me. She started hyperventilating. You see, when people hyperventilate, when they get close to you, they're taking your energy and they're getting high on it and they're getting amped up. So you can see it. Also, you can see how far your bubble goes out I want you to pay attention to when people walk into I'm sure sometimes you're walking and then people come into your bubble and then they remember something and then they walk the opposite direction. I'm sure that happens to you a lot too, because we're the activation energy. We vibrate a high frequency, and when they get triggered, it helps them remember things. And then they go in the opposite direction because they forgot something or they remembered something to go get it. So you can see how far your bubble is by when people enter it and remember things. And so I know that you
get alerted. My bubble's pretty big.
I know.
So I
know you are.
People have an intention to either talk to me or whatever. I can feel. I know real quick.
Yep. Well, that's what I was talking about. They have the saying in Farsi, they're hitting you with your eyes. They're hitting you with their eyes. Okay. But 𝙤𝙤 𝙤𝙤, that means they're hitting you with your eyes. Whenever people looked at me, I quickly turned around and looked at them right in the eyes so fast that it scared them, like, oh my God, he got my brainwaves, And when I'm on my bicycle or when chicks are checking you out or whatever, you catch them checking you out right then at that second, that nanosecond, So it's kind of like the gun, did you play Cowboys? And I always like to be the Indian, but Cowboys and the Indians, when you pull the gun and when the guy is fighting 5 guys with guns, you're really fighting one-on-one. You got to see who's shooting first and go get that guy and, go in the right order. Otherwise it gets you, so it's just like martial arts. You got to, you're fighting 5 guys at the same time. You got to see who's coming first and then deal with him and go from there. So, and yeah.
Okay. So you're at UCLA. And,
I was at UCLA and I was in the fine art department. The fine arts, and I was studying art history and filmmaking and producing and directing for film and television. And I started
just to interrupt and see where we can take this. Do you have any memories of Hearst contributions or anything like that?
I'm glad the number one tourist spot in California is Disneyland. The number 2 is the Hearst Castle.
Right.
Now, when you look close, when you look closely at these 2 places, it's not what it seems. It's hiding right under our nose. Mm-hmm. It's Tartaria. Okay. Just like all the Capitol buildings are Tartarian. That's antiquitech, antique technology that they built. They're trying to, and they repurposed and call it the Hearst Castle, but that's a crock of shit. And it's not, they didn't build Disneyland. Maybe they made some plastic molding on the outside, but some of those ancient castles are really ancient castles, and they just call them amusement park to make it like, it's, amusement, No, those were real ancient places. And and you can tell by the underground, they're famous for having under that Matterhorn, for child trafficking. That they steal the kids, and they have a if you remote view under there, you can see they have tunnels and stuff, and where they take the kids. And you know, they, of course, you have, when we were studying film, they showed all the sex symbolism and Disney. Mm-hmm. And so it's not what it seems. And what I like to say is, it's like when you lose your virginity and you come into the sexual world, and then you realize there was this underlying sexual innuendo all around the world that you never saw before because you were a virgin. And just like that, when you go out after you lose your virginity, you see a whole new, you understand all the sexual jokes now, and you see the under culture. Just that way is when I realized about Tartaria. It's my favorite topic of research, because if you want to figure out who we are, where we come from, what do we really have but our DNA and the megalithic structures that were left behind. And that's why I loved art history, is because that's where the secrets were preserved in the art. They usually burned the books and tried to hide the messages, but the art survived. And you could see the UFOs and the ships and the giants and the everything, and the pictures and the art. And actually the technology for the art we don't have. We're just, I mean, we can laser print, you know, just recently we can laser print real fine micro particles. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the way they did it, is they 3D printed those marble structures and 3D, and they, because you cannot chisel marble without cracking it like that. It's impossible to get. Some of those marble statues are like see-through negligee, and you can see the erect nipples, and you can see, you know, it's like you're really looking through the marble at the erect nipples. You know, it's like, right. It's like, no way that is, you know, how did they do that? So, and then they have a fishnet over, and it's like, how can you carve? It's impossible. I've had teachers stand on stage dumbfounded saying, I don't know how they did this. We cannot do this today. And it just goes on, where we see, you go to these structures where we don't have the technology to lift one block with a crane. Our heaviest crane can't lift one block. So we know that there were giants. They were working in giant proportions. And see, everything started back in Iran. That's where they had the first government, and the first where they you know, what do they do? They started culture and everything. So makeup for women and law, and so everything. And then not being able to read Farsi was okay, because it was in pictures like cartoons. When I went to Shiraz and Esfahan, and I could see that some winged aliens came down and gave information to the people, and you know, and then you can see the DNA tinkering, and you can see really what happened, that really everything started there and came out. And what's interesting is, even though I'm half Iranian and half Norwegian, I'm full Aryan, because the Aryans came from inner hollow earth, and they went through Scandinavia, and then they came down to the Aryan plateau, where Iran gets their name from the Aryans, where Iran, you know, because it's really Persian. And then Persian is IAN. So you look at all the countries with IAN, and it turns out those were like Tartaria. And excuse me.
Yeah. Man, you're like all over the map with your knowledge. It's unbelievable. So getting back to Hearst. So I have memories of being William Randolph Hearst, and I know that underneath the castle are you know, catacombs and tunnels and all kind of crazy stuff, like you were just maybe starting to allude to. So the Hearst basically gave a lot of money to UCLA art and so forth to you know, like kick it, make it what it is right now. It's probably some of the best art in the world. Now I know you got and I'll pull up Hearst as you talk, but mm-hmm. you did a lot of work looking at some stuff. You talked to me about 𝙁𝙁𝙗𝙗's art. That's,
oh my God,
like hidden away.
When I found out, I couldn't believe it. I was studying. See that we have the largest URL, University Research Library, And I was always spending time in there and studying, you know, my favorite topics, UFO and paranormal and psychic stuff. And then I learned that inside the art history building somebody asked me if I'd seen or heard about Leonardo da Vinci's drawings. And I said, what? They said, well, you have to be a graduate student, you know, and he thought I wasn't a graduate student because I looked young, you know. And I said, well, I am a graduate student, you know. So I immediately went. And after I learned about it, it was like, you know, those expensive closets you go into and they have all these hermetic drawers and see-through plexiglass and, you know, all these, it looked like that. That's what it reminded me of, like a real, you're walking into a rich house and it has a nice bedroom, walk-in closet. It was a big room. It was perfect temperature. And I had to wear these gloves. So I didn't put oil. It was the real manuscripts, all the drawings of him. So I had to wear these white gloves that you use like you look at film, so I wouldn't get oil because we have oil on our fingertips.
Right.
And so I went through that, and every day I went there and I looked at the drawings and I looked at it and I looked at all of his inventions and helicopter-like things and catapults. And then I realized the more and more I looked at everything, I realized that the Medici family was hiring him to build weapons. And so just like the government was using Tesla and to make, you know, they wanted him to do these things. So he would leave out his copper winding secrets and stuff. But I think they eventually got his stuff because I've seen his antimatter space propulsion, antimatter destroyers and stuff. And I know they use this technology today. So because I have pictures of it on my computer, and I asked my old boss what he was, if he'd been on one, and I knew he had, and he asked me how I knew about it, and if I knew what it was. And when I told him, he pissed in his pants right there. I mean, he couldn't believe I knew that it was a Tesla antimatter space destroyer. But back to this Hearst thing, all these people gave money. See, UCLA itself is Tartarian buildings. All these why is everybody building in this Greco-Roman style all over the world? Well, it's not Greco-Roman, it's Tartarian style. And we really have to look up Tartaria. And that's why I give those two guys names, John Levy and Martin Liedtke, Liedtke. Martin Liedtke and John Levy are sharing excellent examples. I sent you one video. I texted you a link of Antiquitech, antique technology, but it really takes patience to listen to the long videos of Martin Liedtke because he's Welsh and he curses and I really love him, but he gives a lot of great genius things and talks about the fasces and the direct energy weapons and see, because he talks about the reset. We are going through a reset, but we don't talk about it the way he does. He says that there's they've been doing many resets through, and it's because we're too many people and we're waking up too fast and we're hard to control, and they have to take out a bunch of us so we can start over again. And they repopulate with these orphanages and they clean the slate, the mind with this vaccination. It fries your mind. And they do the asteroids and comets come, and mud floods happen, and so all these things happen each time, and you can look in the stratification and the mud floods and how, see, our Capitol buildings, we're building doors into the second floor window, and because it's buried, the first story is buried, and all over the world you can dig out. See, I always thought that they made these buildings like Petra and the Ajunta caves, and I thought they carved them out of the mountain. But what really happened was it got mud flooded, and they dug them out of the mountain, because usually when they dig into these houses, they're digging through the roof, and then they climb into the house, and then they find things and stuff. What they do is they build on top of it, like and so in your basement is older buildings, and you can see the structures and stuff. So just like losing our virginity, now that I talked about Tartaria, now we have open eyes to go out. I was just driving. I had to get my car smogged and my brakes fixed. 2 different cars I have, and I was driving by this park, and I saw this little kiosk like thing, and it had it was like fenced off, and they wanted people out. And I was wondering, wow, that's really beautiful, Art Deco. And then I looked closer. I said, wow, that's a Tartarian building, because what they do is they take the tops off so we don't recognize them, and they take the beautiful dome tops off, and then they build a stupid thing, so they have to change the roof see, they were built to last. If you let it stay, we don't have to do much work on these Capitol buildings, because they just basically throw paint on or whatever, but they last forever. So, it's a great way of figuring out who we are, where we come from, and what history that is about to be told to us. Because in the next month, because Trump gave 3 months, 90 days for all the UFO information to come out. I don't know if it's going to come out in the next month. I hope so. But I think we're about to learn our star family and our connections with different star nations and where we really come from and how we got here. And so I think everything's about to change, and we're about to see. I just can't figure out who this major arrest is going to be to wake red pill people, because everybody really is already dead, and they're using actors and stuff. So
I agree. A lot of these people are already on, and that's good, because what's going to happen is when this reveal really finally happens, people are going to be pretty pissed off, and when they see that justice has already been served, they'll calm down. So we don't want people running through the streets, dragging people out and hacking them up. So that's not going to happen, I believe.
Well, what I forgot to mention in the conference is we go through these are the stages of enlightenment. Okay. When we talk about our crazy shit, people ignore us. Okay. And then when they get tired of ignoring us, they laugh at us. And then after they laugh at us, then they get mad. They get mad and attack us.
Right.
But after that, the next step is they become enlightened. And really, they're just mad at themselves, because they're kind of lazy to read. They realize they have to rethink everything the way it was, and they don't want to do all that, and it's a rude awakening. I call it a rude awakening. And I'd rather be, I tell my friends, please, if I speak grammatically incorrect, correct me. I don't mind. Some of my friends don't like to be corrected. I don't mind anytime. Step it up, speak up. We have to have no ego. We have to have, we have to be clowns and jokers. That's how I've survived so long. I call Eric the Healer a comedian, superhero.
Right, but you do have superpowers, no doubt about that.
Oh,
now,
it takes no one.
Segue into the secret space program stuff. I mean, you've been involved in it for many, many, many years. It's kind of like, I would say, for the last 5 years, it's like I got poked awake, by many people. And like, I was a secret soldier or super soldier.
Yeah, no, you still are, and we don't realize it, because they clean slate us. But see, things that you said that I overheard you saying is the same as me. You talked about going to the moon at 7, and that's when I was going to the moon. Okay. And 7, what year were you born?
60.
So you're a rat. That's why we work well together. That's right. The Mutant Ninja Turtles master was a rat. Okay. That's what I told you. I forgot. So right. I'm a tiger in 62. So in 67 or 69, I was 7, because that's when they went to the moon in 69. And that's when I was telling my parents, this is all a lie. And they were laughing at me. And I said, this isn't real, what they're showing you. And I told them I was there. I saw how it is. It's not like this. They're lying. This is fake. And they laughed at me.
That's incredible.
And they told me, and they were laughing at me like I'm crazy or something, And then I said that I was flying, and they said, okay, show us. And so I tried to fly, and I couldn't get myself going, and they would just laugh at me. And so it was kind of frustrating. And so basically I spent the rest of my life trying to vindicate myself and get authenticated, But after my mom saw the video I made of Dr. That's bad. Dr. 𝙁𝙤.
Right.
It looks like ouch, but it's 𝙁𝙤.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah.
Well, the first night I met him, I didn't know who he was. He came up to me and he said, I know who you are, And I'm not as popular as you, but I'm Eric the Healer, and I'm kind of well known in the deep, whatever, in the circles. So I thought he meant Eric the Healer, but then he goes, Captain. And I said, oh my God, Captain, wait, he knows something. So next time I talked to him, he said, I know you're the captain. You're Captain Mudra, I said, what? And luckily James Ring was standing right there, and James Ring said, you're in the space program too? I said, James, I told you I was. I said, because he was interviewing somebody else and at another conference. And I said, please let me get in front of your laptop so she could see me and tell me if she recognizes me. And she recognized me right off the bat. And when we were there in New Mexico at this conference, they came from Sandia Labs in the mountains to talk to James Ring. And as soon as they saw me, because it was my birthday, I was with them, we were celebrating, they took off in 3 different directions. They all split and just exited. One in each exit and took off so fast that James was like, where'd they go? And I said, they recognized me. And I told him, so all these little things add up. And when people came up to me, so that's how I know, like you, people came up to me and told me, and it woke me up. And so, so Dr. 𝙒𝙗 said that, I asked him if my spaceship was like the Millennium Falcon, and he laughed and he said, your spaceship is a big triangular ship and that other ships go onto it and you go out, and he told me. So that's why I think that he said that we're not part of the regular ones. I think that you also are part of the, where we go out and colonize we go out into the Draco and reptilian territories that others are scared to go, because we can do things that they can't, faster or whatever. We think lightning fast. Yeah. So it's good. James asked me, do you want to be doing this? Is this what you want to be doing? And I looked at him and I said, I'm colonizing. I'm getting us ready. I'm going out there. We need to do this. We need to colonize and go out there. It's like Star Trek. I loved how you talked about Star Trek in your talk, and how you said that because really Gene Roddenberry was gifted with a lot of technology and for disclosure, just like Rod Serling from, Twilight Zone. They really gave them a lot of information, and that's why we know so much today. And it's really funny that we laugh at the flip phone. We think it's antiquated, but I mean, that was like in the future when they used those communicators and the flip phone.
I remember watching Star Trek when my parents would have it on, and I remember, Kirk would go, Scotty, big me up. I was like, that's badass. And then we had the flip phones. And I'm like, wow, that's real. They knew it all the way back then. Yeah.
And you know what? I've seen flip phones in stone in the Egyptian artifacts. I've seen flip phones with stone, and I've seen pictures of people on cell phones and old, like time travelers with cell phones. I've seen pictures of time travelers with cell phones. And so we borrowed, basically we borrowed the cell phone technology from the past or future, and they tinkered with it to make it, they put on the spyware afterwards, whatever they added. But that's what I understand. So, but basically the most powerful corporations in the world are the communications. And it's and all the logos in the world, the most powerful, they all have the rings of Saturn in them. And so it's all related. And we're going to see that really there's a signal coming from Saturn, and it's relayed through the moon, and that we've been under this, we've been hidden under this umbrella, and soon we're about to just be really free, because we don't realize how powerful we are and how much we can do, because people can achieve these states of consciousness that we go into. But by anybody can become a genius. China proved it. Anybody can become a genius. China proved it many times. And so I look forward to.
There's a lot of people that are waking up, to being super soldiers, and I think that, by us, talking about it, like we had some people at the conference that like just blew up, there's like, whoa, it's like, So you get exposed to this information, and then it starts to come through. And for some people, it's like initially, it can be traumatic because
Right.
it just completely rearranges your consciousness and what you imagined was reality. So that's why I think there's a lot of resistance, to the space force and,
Yeah.
and so forth, because it's going to be, like we talked about, it's been out there for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah.
Or been exposed to it, but they're like, oh, that's just fiction. And then and now they're starting to see over time, which is good, that it's not fiction. There's a lot of people coming out and talking about it. And that's the beauty, I think, of, for us, being in the secret space program, sharing that information now on the front edge of it, so that when it really is starting to be revealed, it's not such a shock to people.
Exactly. And that's why they need us to have this disclosure and see the way, that monster movie, it's like that monster movie and the song they sing, the popular song, the boogeyman is real under our bed. Okay. And they're scared to admit the boogeyman is real. They don't want to go there. They're scared. And because they know that sometimes they wake up and they have maybe extra marks on their body or bruises they can't explain, or they have a security infrared camera recording their body levitating and stuff. And, it's like, they're like, holy shit. And what's great is going to these, did you get contact from James Gilliland? I gave your phone number to him to contact you to do something.
Not yet.
Anyway, his ranch, he has a it's like UFO Central there. Oh, yeah. And they use these military grade goggles. I think it's 4th generation now, maybe 5th or 6th for you, but they have this really high quality, you can see, and really what it is the infrared lens that you can see these things. And if you don't want to pay I can get them rebuilt for you from a friend of mine, Nick at Night, for a couple thousand, but really they're like 3,000-4,000. And what I tell people is go to a camera shop and buy filters for a lens, the infrared filters, and buy 2 of them and fashion yourself some glasses, like either weld a nose bridge or take a glue gun and glue it, but you can fashion yourself some like Elton John glasses with them and watch, and then you can see the UFOs for cheap, for less than $100. So, that's what you need to do to see them. And what's amazing is last time I went to his ranch, I didn't use the goggles, and I saw the UFOs before they did with the goggles. I was finding all the UFOs first and shining my laser on them and showing them where they were so they could see them. So, and what I think that is if we have contact and we work with them, we're on that wavelength and we can communicate, and they communicate with us. We communicate with them through our mind, and they know where we are, and we see them right away. So, we vibrate the same frequency vibrations. So it helps to see them. But I've had many UFO experiences. When people ask me if I believe in UFOs, I always laugh and I say, which ones? Which ones do you? They're like 80 different ones.
There's a lot of high-tech back engineered aircraft out there that people believe as UFOs. I think a lot of the stuff that people are seeing out there is just back engineered stuff, but there is definitely like you're talking about at James Gilliland's ranch, where they actually consciously call them in, and I totally agree with that. That's definitely something you can do if you're in the right group.
Yeah, that's what the Dr. Stephen Greer was selling the CE5. He was charging a lot of money, and for people at the Contact in the Desert. I went to the first ones, and I guess now I can't go anymore because they don't allow Trump lovers there. And my friend Brooks Agnew can't speak at Contact in the Desert because he loves Trump. And so I know. And anyway, I never spoke there anyway. But I did volunteer there and work, and I met a lot of people. And they were doing the CE5 to contact aliens, and they did, and they did come and stuff. But while they were communicating and trying to contact aliens, I was standing next to an alien talking to him. So it's funny that they're trying to contact him, and they're right there. The aliens are right there at your conference. Just turn to your right or left and talk to them. You know, they came, and this one guy came that I saw at my other conferences, and he comes and he tells me he likes what I'm doing, and that they really like what I'm doing. They keep doing what I'm doing. And then I always wondered why this guy had a ski cap on. And it's just like that Star Trek when Spock was hiding his ears, you know, he was hiding a skull. He had a heart-shaped skull, what I've never seen before, a heart-shaped skull, like bulbous. And like, it goes like like a heart, the top of a heart. And so I said, when I saw him, I said, holy shit, you're an alien. And everything just clicked into place, why he knew so much and this and what he was doing. And we just hugged. And it was just wonderful. It was really love. And he was short. And
that's good. That segues into another little avenue we're going to. So you've had a lot of contact with movie stars and stuff. Like, how did that happen?
Oh yeah, you know, I think that's going to be my hook for my book. Is just talking about stars. I've met so many. How it happened is I lived in Santa Monica. You know, anybody who goes to LA, you want to see a movie star, all you have to do is go to a grocery store in Santa Monica because they all live there. I worked in the grocery store for 7 years. I worked in this grocery store. It was a Safeway. It became a pavilion place. It was bought by Vons. I think Safeway bought Vons actually. And we were a pavilion place on Lincoln and Montana. Lincoln is 8th Street and Montana is like parallel to Wilshire, but it's after Montana dead ends into the Brentwood Country Club where they made Caddyshack. Okay. So I was right there at 820 Montana. And I met many. Oh, before that, I worked at the movie theaters, the Plitt Theaters in Century City, where that's where they show the premieres of. We're on the same cycle. I have to take a swig too before I start coughing.
Yeah, I've been to Santa Monica and stayed there at that one. I can't remember the name of it. It's a really famous old hotel right there on the beach, close to where the piers are and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but, yeah, that's a pretty amazing area. We had like dinner there a couple nights. You can see the movie stars coming and going. So yeah, it's just definitely you're going to see them if you're there.
They're making a movie every day, and sometimes we'd go and say, okay, you want to be in this movie? And we all look and like, okay, sure, let's go. And we wouldn't even know what movie it was. We'd just get $40. We'd eat with them and clown around and have ice cream on the beach. And then later we'd go to, when I worked at the movie theaters, I could get in free to any movie theater. So I'd take all my friends in for free. And then all of a sudden they go, hey, we're in this film. We're in this film. This is our, So, I mean, they were making a movie every day. We were in so many movies. One time I was playing backgammon with these Persians at the Playboy Club in Century City. And John Landis was making a film, whatever film he was making in 85. And he knew me because I spoke Farsi and I didn't look Iranian. And I was hanging out with I asked him if it was okay if I hang out with the Iranians, because Playboy Club had these really nice backgammon boards. They were felt and big. And so I liked playing on them. So I was playing with them, and John Landis didn't tell me, but he shot it anyway with me in it. And then later, so I said, you're in the film too. I said, I didn't know. So he took me around. We smoked some weed in his limo and we ran around, cruised around. So he's a good guy. And they were always making things. So when I worked at the movie theaters, I worked my way up from head usher to assistant manager. And one day I was working, what I just realized, what the most magnificent thing that really ever happened to me, I realized last year when I looked at pictures of Trump from 1985, and I realized, holy shit, how did he get that much hair? That's not him. And then I realized, oh my God, Trump traveled back in time to 1985 to find me at the theater, ask me, he said, do you know who I am? I said, of course, you're, Donald Trump. And then I realized, and then he said, do you have time to talk? I said, sure, it's between movies. So we sat down on this, it was like an Ames, nice museum chair and a black leather with chrome. and we talked for over an hour, and we talked about, he said he was going to become president and he was going to clean up all this mess. And I laughed. I said that I wanted to become president, but it was, but my metaphysical teachers told me it was a low level of consciousness. And he laughed and he said, I know, you're right. He said, but then he looked at me, seriously, and he said, but you know, we have to use these people to get where we're going. And that stuck in my head. And I told him, I said, okay, you do it your way and I'll do it my way. And then we'll meet afterwards and talk about it. So I can't wait till we get to, I know that he knows me. And so it threw me into this thinking of, oh my God.
Now why did he actually contacted you in that way?
Okay. He contacted me in that way is because I am the whistleblower. In 1992, I was working for the Small Business Administration for the government that worked with FEMA, the emergency management. And I was in charge of timekeeping first. And then I cleaned up the timekeeping, and I was the fastest timekeeper, and we won the award. We had to send our information to the National Finance Center in Georgia. And after I cleaned it up and won an award for being the fastest, whatever, they moved me into the other departments so I could clean them up. So I went to make procurement, and I was purchasing things. And then I made this check writing system so it'd make a check right away when we got something to send it to these people to buy, because whatever the disasters areas needed everything the night before, you know, they were always rushing. So I cleaned that up. Then they put me in accountable property, where I had to count everything and keep track of the cell phones, the cars. I had like 14 GSA vehicles and change their oil and keep them clean. And then I had to count all these coffin liners, and I had to track all these books. And what's a civilian inmate handbook? What the hell is a civilian inmate handbook? Why do we have these coffin liners? What are they? I mean, like stacks and rows and miles. And why do we need, are you expecting a big disaster? What is going on? Why do we have these empty prisons? There were only 4 disaster areas when I first started working. I think they have like 12 now or something. But all these disaster areas are connected with railroads. And it turns out these Targets and Home Depot, not Home Depot, but not Costco. What's the other one? I guess maybe it's Costco. What's the, not Kmart, but not Walmart, maybe Walmart and Sam's Club, or those kind of big stores. Mm-hmm. They have underground facilities, and they have large amounts of everything, and they can load the trains underneath, and they got that high speed, what's it called? Magnetic levitation, maglev trains that go Mach 2. You can go fast, but I think that they fill them up with water, or they blew up a lot of them to stop the Illuminati from escaping or whatever. But they were the old Tartarian tunnels and stuff, I think, that they repurposed and used. So I was tracking all these things, and I kept asking my sweet boss, you know, what the hell are these things? Please ask the higher ups what these are for. What's a civilian inmate handbook? I was starting to get concerned. Well, they machine gunned her son to death and to shut her up. And I felt so bad. And I went to the funeral, and I just told her, I am so sorry for asking these questions, because they machine gunned him at a ATM at Wells Fargo, and they didn't take money or anything. And it was definitely a hit, a mafia hit. And excuse me. So she looked at me and she said, Eric, be careful, protect yourself. You know, it's like, because they might come after me, because I don't know if she told them that I was asking all these questions, you know. So I was worried. So I had just come from Los Angeles studying martial arts with the top martial artists. And I wanted to go to the secret martial art camp where all the top martial artists go. I'm not going to say anymore because I like to keep it secret, but all the best martial artists and also actually mercenaries and stuff that you and I both know showed up there. And
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, what I want to say is I went to this Thai boxing or not martial art camp, and I met Jesse Ventura, and I wanted to give this information out, what I was seeing, because I didn't know if I was going to be taken out. So I just wanted to pass along this information that I was concerned. And I sold it to him, and he bought it hook, line, and sinker. And he wanted to work with me. And that was in 92 or 93. But 2 years later, I told him, no, I'm going to stay with the government as a whistleblower and figure out more of what the hell's going on, because I don't like what I'm finding. And I believe there's a lot more that I have to uncover. So he went with Alex Jones 2 years later and brought that information out. So I knew that they were going to be doing these forced vaccinations. And a long time ago, they've been planning all these control things and chipping us and using this chip. You know, that was the mark of the beast. And see, that chip is in some kind of thing that goes in your arm, you know? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So how long have you known about that? That's pretty impressive.
Well, since the 80s and 90s, I knew I was never going to be forced. Really, the early 90s is when it all came together. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I got to get this shit out. And so I was working for them as every 2 months or 90 days, they had me as a hire so they wouldn't have to pay me medical benefits. They extended me every 90 days. Every 3 months, they extended me so they wouldn't have to pay me medical care. And so I worked for them for 2 years until I had a girlfriend in personnel there. And I was hearing shit from her. And they saw that I was too powerful, getting too much information. And once they knew she was my girlfriend, they didn't renew me, you know, and also that they found out, I guess, that I was the one asking those questions. Mm-hmm. So from there, I went to, I became a teacher. I was a substitute teacher, but I worked in the herb store, but then I got into the state department of the Medi-Cal. I got into Medi-Cal, which turned out to be, I told them, I said, you know, that they weren't for healing people, and it was fixed, and the money, and, you know, Obamacare, I would always say Obama doesn't care, you know, and it's just it didn't add up, you know, what they were saying. The narrative didn't follow, and the procedures were bad, and to heal what they were doing. So then I went from there to food, drug, and radiation safety. And I wanted to get in there because I figured radioactive particles and radioactive stuff, that's what is the bombing. And I wanted to get in as close as I could to figure out what was going on. And so I got into there, and I've been there for about over 20 years. And it's just, they haven't promoted me when they learned that I was, you know, I was a whistleblower and I was speaking on stage and stuff. But I was told to lay low until 2013, until 2012 happened. When 2012 happened, my spirit guide said, okay, we're in a new energy now, and it's safe now to speak. And so, you know, now you can go out. I was told to lay low all my life and not, you know, be out there, not put myself out there and to fly under the radar. And so and I know the energy changed after 2012, and so I started speaking 2013 with 𝙭. What's funny about 𝙭 is, I didn't know that he was the same guy I kept meeting in the 80s at all these UFO conferences, because I met Bob Lazar and John Lear and all these Sean David Morton, and, you know, all these different people I met as a pioneers, speakers in the UFO movement. And because I wanted questions answered, and I wanted to know about UFOs and get this information out there, because my high school nominated me. I was voted the guy to greet the aliens when they landed, you know, and they thought I was crazy, you know, and it was kind of a joke, but I was really like proud of it and say, yes, you know. So that's how I met all these people is by living in Los Angeles and working at the place where they have the premieres, and then going to the grocery store where all the writers lived and the actors lived, and they came in and they remembered me from this grocery store. But I want to write my book, autobiography, and just use that as a hook, talking about the because I met the Dalai Lama too. The Dalai Lama, my neighbor in Santa Monica, invited him to come speak at the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium, and he could not. And then so they gave me front row tickets to go here and speak, but I couldn't get off. Nobody wanted to work the express lane, so I was looking at my watch and I was saying, "Shit, he's about to speak." Even though he was on the Time and People magazine as the man of the year, when he walked in the grocery store, it was Los Angeles, and people thought they were Hare Krishnas, even though they have the light yellow color.
Oh, I love that story. So let me slow you down a little bit. So listen to this story. So you were going to go see the Dalai Lama.
Speak, and I couldn't get off work to go see him because I was in the express lane, and nobody wants to work my position in the express lane. It was sucked, to express lane because it's so much work and fast and going all the time. So I missed it, and I was just standing there, and he was supposed to speak. Just when he was supposed to speak, he must have been late because I was looking and I was thinking, okay, he's about to start speaking, but it was just down the road, about 6 blocks away. But still, he came in to buy water and stuff, before he went to speak. And he came to my line directly without looking at anybody else. He came to me directly. I looked at my name tag. It was covered. After he goes, Eric. And I looked at my name tag. No way he could read my name tag from that far off. It was covered anyway by my smock. He goes, Eric, I heard you couldn't come and hear me speak. I came to see if you had any questions of me. And I was like blown away, like the Dalai Lama's coming to me.
Now, was there like a list of names with pictures on it or anything like that he might have looked through?
No way he could have known who I was without knowing who I was from before. Right. He knew who I was somehow, and I didn't know how. Don't you know when people know who you are? But when they meet you, they know you. They know you from somewhere. You're like, I'm sorry, I don't know you. Where do you know me from?
I have that often, yeah.
Yeah, where do you know me from? I'm sorry, I don't remember you. Where do you know me from? It's like that. It's like one of those situations. So I was like, whoa. But then I thought, okay, well, I don't know how, but maybe he said express lane and he came to the express lane and, I couldn't get off and he knew go to the express lane. So, but then I go, yes, I got questions. I said, is there a hollow earth? That was my first question. And he goes, yes, Shambhala, how did you know? And I said, well, your friend Tuesday Lobsong talks about it in his book. He says, yes, he does. He does talk about it in his book. And then I asked him, is there true that you have a cave where you have a bank of seeds from all over, the world? And it's like, so you would be able to restart the planet and whatever. He said, yes. I said, is it true you also have wax figures of famous people, past, present, and future? He said, yes. And then I said, is that how you recognize me, from one of those wax figures? And oh my God, hell broke loose and I pissed off the Dalai Lama. He goes, it's not about ego. It's, he was like so pissed off. And I was like, holy shit, I pissed off the Dalai Lama. And he stormed out with his friend with the glasses and that Brad Pitt looking guy. Brad Pitt played him, the Italian guy with the green suit, nice suit. He wasn't wearing robes. They had saffron colored robes, but they all left. So the next day, I wish I have to practice saying that guy's name, Gyalzul's, whatever. His friend with the glasses came in by himself, and he goes, I want to tell you, His Holiness was very, stressed yesterday. I said, listen, you're not apologizing for the Dalai Lama. My God. I said, I want to keep my ego in check. And I just want you to relay to him that I wasn't asking from an ego standpoint. Just so many wonderful things have happened to me in my life that I just want verification that I'm really somebody, that I know I'm some kind of leader or I have to do something important. I'm here for a reason. So many times I came so close to death and they told me I'm very lucky and I'm here for a reason, so things bounce off me and I go through, everything goes in slow motion when I'm in a car accident and I'm able to act quickly. You could, like I say, you can spin a knife and throw it at me, a spinning knife, and I can catch it. It goes in slow motion. And a crazy girlfriend did that once. And I was like, what the hell? Because you're always bragging about it. So I didn't brag about it anymore, but here I'm telling you. But I'm just saying everything goes in slow motion for me. and I can react fast. It's like we play with time somehow. And I think that's what this really UFO business is. It's not about space. It's about time. It's time travel. And that's what it's really about. And that's what they don't want us to know. It's interdimensional beings. And really maybe they're from our own future wondering, what the hell we did wrong. But I know we're on the positive timeline.
Yeah.
But I can go off on so many tangents on any of these subjects. But it was really interesting that happened with the Dalai Lama. And it was just, it verified to me that, because I think you and I are part of the Indian Space Force, because they had the ancient Vimanas and it's an ancient, they had many different space programs in all the different countries. But I think you and I are from, and I always wondered why I knew so many words in Sanskrit. I have a large Sanskrit vocabulary, and I don't know why I know things, what they mean. And so, it's
for a long time ago, I had a connection with the Vimanas, and then I did past life readings, and had psychics tell me that I was King Yudhishthira in the Mahabharata. So that all came together.
No doubt about it.
Yeah,
we know each other. We worked together. We worked together many lifetimes, and we're back together again. So they better watch out. And us coming together now means the shit's about to hit the fan. It's about to change, and it's going to be a rude awakening, and it's going to be a wonderful thing. Nasara, the Jubilee, the cancellation of debt, the gold-based dollar. We're going to have to wonder what to do with our free time. And I like to say dolphins are so intelligent, and all they do is play and make love. And wouldn't you like to be a dolphin? And you and I both have dolphin connections, and and so there's so many things that we both have in common. That's why I know I can safely say these things about us, because we resonate.
Where I watch the chat. A lot of people don't think that I do, but I do watch the chat. There's some knuckleheads in there, of course. I have some shield mavens in there, like, take care of that stupid shit. But a lot of people are like, like us, that are watching right now. The numbers are really high. Even though I'm suppressed tremendously. They take my channel away. There's still a lot of people that are coming in and watching, this live. They're also part of this, raising consciousness, connections, just like what we're talking about right now. The connections are extremely important going forward.
It is. See, we have a network. We have a core network, a group of people, and really, it's like activation energy, and it really spreads. It goes out like wildfire. We don't need a large group, and we get out the information. And when you lose your channel, those people are going to hunt you down and find you where you open up again. Okay. And it's just going to reconnect and burst again. Just like I restarted a new channel, a new profile on LinkedIn. I lost my 16,000 friends on LinkedIn. I went up to 4,000 quickly, and I have 5,000 max on Facebook. I'm sure you do too. But I'm not going to be like my other friends. I think Laura Eisenhower made two different, she was had a couple of them going, and she has so many. I don't want to do that. I made another, I have an Eric the Healer page, but I just want to keep 5,000. And see, I'm so happy the pandemic happened, because I got to weed out a lot of people that were, not on the same page as us, and they'll get it later, they'll get it later. They'll understand, or not everybody will make the shift either. So
no, of course not. I've been saying it for a while too. Good.
Yeah. So, and when I told my dad, I said, maybe, I was trying to get my dad not to take the jab and stuff. And so, I'll just stop right there. I don't want to say too much. So anyway, it's good to resonate and speak with people who speak the language.
Now let's go into a little bit why you're called Eric the Healer. Now, you have worked for the state of California for a while, and you have done some good things, but they, like you're talking about, have suppressed the crap out of you to the point where most people would have gone away a long time ago, but you're still in there, still doing your thing. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, they wanted me to go. They thought me just doing the mail, I'm eventually going to go and trying to make more money elsewhere. but amazingly, I always got the money I needed, amount I needed.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the way it worked. I'm going to go grab a charger I'm walking around to get a charger to plug into my phone.
I want everybody to know that this is standard operating procedure for federal governments, where you start to press on them to disclose.
Right.
Because this happened to me when in my last year or so in the CIA. They pressed on me hard, trying to get me to go away. I stayed until it was just like, you know, there's no way I could go forward anymore. So,
yeah.
And when I left, you know, after having been, you know, 35 years in the SEAL teams and the CIA, knowing that now they're going to come after me, that was
right.
pretty challenging, you know, going forward. It took me a while to overcome all that. They basically came at me and destroyed my life. So when anyone is still involved and still working within a system that we know that is extremely corrupt, you got to give them a lot of credit. So I give you a lot of credit, Eric. Thanks a lot.
Oh, you know, thank you. I really appreciate that. And you know, when people say no, to me, it means go. You know, it just makes me stronger, just like
right.
you know, it just to prove that we can do it. They say, well, it's never been done. You know, I say, oh, good. You know, because it's just like my friends when we saw that they were closed. These movies we wanted to see, they were sold out. And I said, no, stop. Don't think negatively. We're going in and we're going to watch this movie. Okay. It's sold out to the others, but not to us. Okay. We're going in. And sure enough, I would get us all in, and they wouldn't be able to believe it. And I said, well, that's why you fail. Just like Yoda said, that's why you fail, you know, is because you thought negatively. You know, you have to believe and visualize yourself, whatever you want. And whenever I've prayed for whatever I've wanted and I've prayed for it, I've received it. And I always save prayer for the last, you know, desperate situations, but every prayer has been answered quickly. You know, just like when John Popek was missing from our conference, I did a prayer at our conference. As soon as I did the prayer, he walked in and everybody was like, whoa. And I said, see, always your prayers are answered. And so it's good to believe in yourself and do these things. And you have to speak out, because that's how we inspire people. And we get out this information, because one person telling two friends, and they tell two friends, it becomes 4, then 8, then 16, 32, 64, 128, 256. And then you're getting into the 432. Okay. And see, that's the doubling Fibonacci sequence where it spirals out and exponentially. So even though we have a few people, our information gets out. I am the guy in the grocery store who kept saying, excellent, excellent. So these writers put in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, okay? Because I kept saying excellent. My friend said, no, that's bullshit. You didn't say that. I said, okay, what about my French fries on the burgers? I kept putting French fries in my burgers and French fries in my burritos. And they didn't know my name, so they called it the California Kid style, okay? I was the California Kid. I was the one who was putting French fries in my burritos, because in Iran, they have potatoes and meat, and they mix them together, a côtelette, and it's like a hamburger, and it's so good you can eat it cold or hot. And instead of putting parsley, I put cilantro. And instead of mixing lamb and beef, I was using lamb and turkey, I think. But anyway, it's really delicious. I'm vegetarian now, or flexitarian. I eat meat just like you. I'm a foodie, and if I'm given a filet mignon, I'm not going to turn it down, you know. But that was pretty good, our filet mignon, huh? So yeah, it was. I'm a foodie like you. So, but as I'm drooling on myself, but you know, and I'm glad I got to make waffles, and you tasted my waffles.
Yeah, that was beautiful. That was amazing. Tell everyone real quick your waffle ingredients. That's unbelievable.
Oh, my waffle recipe. You know, I've been playing with this recipe for 30, 40 years, maybe. I start out with mashing a banana with a fork. Then I used to add eggs, but after our speech with Dr. Robert Young, I'm not using eggs. And after the conference, but I put cinnamon, vanilla. I buy the highest quality cinnamon, the highest quality, you know, vanilla, Madagascar bourbon. And then I buy cardamom. Cardamom is a spice used by both Iranians and Norwegians. So I use cardamom. And then I use almond milk and almond flour. So it's not wheat flour. So it's gluten-free. And then I use coconut oil. Oh, no, I don't. Sometimes I put a little coconut oil in there, but actually I use butter to grease the pan. And so we got those. And then I bought those strawberries. I meant to give those strawberries to the conference, but I left them in the fridge. Luckily, I left those strawberries in the fridge for the conference. So when we're leaving, I said, oh, shit, I forgot the strawberries. So luckily, I brought them to have them with us for the waffles. And Dr. Sandra washed them and sliced them up. That was nice to have fresh strawberries on there with maple syrup and butter. And yeah, that was good.
All right.
So
that was a nice little detour. Let's go back to like,
I'm looking at my shopping list to make sure.
Good food is healing. Definitely.
It is. I'm looking at my shopping list to see if it talked about all the things I wanted to, just like you said, meeting all these people. I wanted to talk about one guy I met, John Williams, who made the music for Star Wars. The first time I saw Star Wars, it was so amazing because if you know the story of George Lucas writing it, he met my favorite author at the time, Joseph Campbell. And Joseph Campbell, he wrote the books called Masks of God. Right. And when he wrote the Masks of God, George Lucas was inspired to make the Star Trek. So he made the Star Trek movie and Star Wars. And thank you. Sorry. He made the Star Wars movies. So when I saw the first Star Wars in the 70s, it was like, oh my God, this is my life's. It's like you and I are when Luke was looking out in the sunset at what's about to happen, wondering, what our future is like, out there. And it was just so good. I had to sit through it twice. I didn't leave and I stayed and watched it 2 times in a row. So then in 1983, when I moved to the Bay Area, before I went down to UCLA in LA in 83, I was in Richmond working at the Plitt Theaters on the Hilltop. And we were the only 70 millimeter theater around. So one day I was the head usher. One day George Lucas walks up and he says, you guys are the only 70 millimeter theater around here. And we just finished making a Star Wars movie. Do you know about Star Wars? We just finished making The Return of the Jedi and we'd like to use your theater and see it. And you guys can watch it with us. We want to see it for the first time. So I got to watch Return of the Jedi with George Lucas and all the people in the film, and the energy in that theater was like, wow. And I felt like, oh my God. And the music, we had the best speakers and it was just blasting awesome. So then I transferred from that movie theater down to LA, where I met John Williams. He showed up. And that 1984, I was going to UCLA and my mom was working for the phone company and she hooked me up to work for the Olympics. So I was working as a translator and a host in the Olympics in the telecommunications for the phone company at UCLA Village, and we won the best village. So it was all, so John Williams came and he played music in the USC Coliseum at the LA Coliseum. So when we were playing at the height of his concert, a big UFO mothership came and like didn't land, but hovered just above the stadium. So like covered the stadium. And I was like, wow, how did they do this? I was like, wow, I was thinking Goodyear blimp and I was looking at it and I said, wow, this looks really real. They did a really good job. So when I met John Williams after that, and I told him that I worked in the Olympics and I said, wow, that was the best concert I'd ever seen. And he told me, he said, that was the best conference. That was the best concert I had ever given. And he looked at me and he said, what about that UFO? And all of a sudden my hair went up on my arms. And I said, holy shit, you mean that wasn't part of the show? And he said, no. So a big mothership came and a big giant, and and I guess they took the energy from the stadium from us because it was so amazing. I know that they take energy, and or maybe they zapped everyone or chipped everyone. I don't know what, but we were involved with these UFOs, and he was like, whoa. And so he verified for me that was a weird experience. That was really magical. And also meeting Trump and talking to him at that same theater the next year in 85, and then just realizing last year was him, because it gives credence to the fact that this guy is not a normal being. Trump is a divine being he's a space guy, and he's working with higher beings, and they came to him to ask him to do this sting operation to bring down this deep state cabal. And we're about to wake up to this information, but it's all said and done, and they want to make sure they tie all the loose ends. And I guess they didn't want a civil war, and they didn't want our money to be worth nothing in our pockets. So they had to do it just this right way. And I can't wait to reconnect, because I'm not, my dad, when I told him the story yesterday or 2 days ago, my dad says, why are you making up the story? Why are you lying? And I said, Dad, I'm not lying. I don't care if you believe me or not. This is the truth. This has really happened. Okay. And he says, oh, the Trump is an asshole. And I said, Dad, this is what the media portrays him that way. He's not. He's a great guy. I met him, and so I know that there's something going on, and he's coming back, and he never left, and we're going to see all these things soon. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And so did I answer all the other questions? I know I bounce around a lot. It's fun talking to you about all these different things.
Yeah, you're tying it all together. I know you're like me. You get off track and start to going down crazy rabbit holes. But
yeah.
Before we end, let's we'll talk about your stuff in a minute. But let's give them a little something on the healing. What if you were
good? Because I was about to make the same suggestion.
Okay, good.
The first thing I say is to realize that what Dr. Robert Young told us is that there is no such thing as disease. It's all symptoms of being acidic. So we have to get alkaline. And the website is dr for Dr. robertyoung.com to get alkaline. It's as simple as taking 4 salts. And you can get these things cheaply on your own. You can make sodium bicarbonate and drink it at night, and get alkaline. And that's what's really curing these people, when they flush with lemon juice. You have to drink lemon juice to get alkaline, because it converts to alkalinity in your stomach. But really, it's good. Our stomach produces these sodium bicarbonates, and he's a genius. I really loved listening to him. Oh, so that's the first thing I want to say is get alkaline. The second thing I want to say is detox, detox, detox. Always be detoxing. We have parasites. Everybody has parasites. We don't realize it. And we have to get rid of our parasites. And a good way to do it is to eat. See, in Iran, they always did things naturally without, knowing, like they would eat pumpkin seeds to get rid of parasites. So what you got to do is I get a little coffee grinder, the mini one, and I get some pumpkin seeds and I put them in the coffee grinder. And then I put that powder on my cereal or on my oatmeal, and that goes and kills the parasites, and it comes out in our stool. So it kills. And also, if your dog is dragging the butt and has parasites, worms, you can make sure that there's no salt, because dogs don't perspire like we do. They can't have salt or onions or chocolate. So buy the raw pumpkin seeds with no salt. And if it has salt, just wash them and dry it out on a towel, and then grind them up for them. Good. And that'll get rid of their parasite.
On the pumpkin seeds, this is something I just learned myself.
Yes.
At the highest amount of protein of almost anything else.
It's good protein. And see, all these plant proteins at our body temperature, they're liquid. But when you eat meat fat is solid at our body temperature. That's why it clogs our heart and clogs our arteries is because at our body temperature, it's still solid. You need a higher heat to melt that fat. So that's why you want to be plant-based. Plus, our intestine is too long to be meat eaters. They get stuck in the fold. So if there's a Trader Joe's around you or a health food store, you find psyllium, Psyllium. Psyllium, it comes from, I think, the rice husk. It goes, you put a tablespoon in a glass of juice, and it puffs up, and it becomes like thick oatmeal, and you drink that, and you flush it down later through with water, and it goes through and it pushes all those mucoids and mucus and scrapes the lining and gets all that shit out of you, and your skin gets shining, and just like when you oil pulling detoxes radiation, reverses cavities, corrects your gum line.
Oil pulling, you recommend coconut oil?
Yes, I recommend coconut oil because it's easily found and it's cheaper, and coconut water can be put in an IV in your arm. Mm-hmm. It's one of the things that can be, so it works well with our body. So I trust it the most. And if you put it in your hair, I can use it for massage. You can put it in your hair. If you have an eye infection, you can put it in your eye. And when my dogs get goopy eye, I just take coconut oil and I get their eyes wet with the coconut oil, and it's gone right away. It goes away.
Yeah.
Because
I take a tablespoon of that every day. It's very, very, very good.
I want you to up that to 2 or 3. Okay.
I was actually doing 2. That's good. I wasn't sure if I was doing the right thing.
You'll notice. Yeah. You're supposed to do 3 normally and 4 if you have a dementia. If you have a relative that's to have dementia, they need 4 tablespoons a day. But 3 is good. Okay. 3 is good, and it really helps you because we're all dry of oils. We don't realize it. That's what we need is oil in our system. And olive oil. That's a nice way to burn our stomach fat from being foodies. We need to take a shot glass of olive oil at night. That's what I learned from working with Stephen Gundry. Dr. Stephen Gundry has the best video on learning about your microbiome and the Shikimate barrier, because people don't realize.
He's good. I love his work. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. When they don't realize.
Olive oil would you recommend?
You have to buy the best cold pressed virgin, extra virgin olive oil. Do not cook with olive oil. Only put olive oil after your food gets cooler than 118 degrees. Because if your food is hotter than 118 degrees, it kills the beneficial enzymes, and it's technically not raw anymore. So really, we should be eating raw food. That's how, when I met Dr. Gerson's daughter, Josephine, she said, her cancer cure was simply a raw food diet. And that's Gerson, Gerson. He was the Nazi doctor who cured cancer, and the Nazi Jew doctor who cured cancer in 1928, and then they tried to kill him to shut him up, and they hired a secretary to destroy his information. It took him a year to redo everything, and this time he made extra copies, and then they killed him with even like 3 times more poison. But his daughter had the information, and she laughed at me and she said, "I can't cure cancer in America." She said it's illegal to cure cancer in America. She said you can only use chemotherapy or radiation or surgery, but now we can use marijuana oil too legally, which is the only one that really works legally. But there are many cancer cures. I wanted to cure cancer. I learned there were many cancer cures. It goes on and on, go in a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. Cancer can't survive in an alkaline environment, first of all. Cancer can't survive in an oxygenated atmosphere. So you can go to a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. You can, and we have to give these disclaimers too, that I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. Exactly. I'm Eric the Healer, healing myself. I'm just making suggestions to what I would do. So,
I just pulled up your ericthehealer.com. I just have that on the screen, and this looks really interesting. Your Facebook page.
Yes, that's a good video. That's a good oil pulling video right there. You're in the middle. So I'm really sorry. I don't
update right here. That's really good. It says, like to stay ahead of the curve. You remember chemtrails, GMOs, aspartame, sodium fluoride. So you're really putting some good information out there. The stuff I've been talking about for well over a decade now. So outstanding.
Yes.
And I'll put these links down in the
thank you. I
Yeah,
apologize for not updating my 𝗏𝙗𝗀𝙗.com. I've been just using the social media, but I'm going to spend more time and make a blog and maybe start a vlog like you and start talking and do shows. I have unfinished business legally with the state and trying to get situated. I think I'm pretty, I'm getting it worked out. I'm going to be having extra time soon. So I look forward to updating I just wanted those websites to have it there so I can go to there when I get taken down from Facebook. But mostly I'm prolific on Facebook right now. And Instagram, I'm 𝗏𝙗 the Healer on Instagram, and I'm 𝗏𝙗 the Healer on Twitter, I think. But I just post videos. I don't really stay there long. But yeah, God bless you for sharing this stuff and information. I'm so happy we connected, and I look forward to coming. Sacramento is only 2 hours away from you, so
yeah,
I'll have to come up and make you guys some waffles and share some other stuff. Show you. I got some nice.
Doing, I'm now that the craziness with the COVID is starting to unwind on these deep staters. We're going to start doing events like we did the 5D event, and definitely probably have you guys come out and join us for that as well.
Definitely. I got the poster from our conference behind me. You're on the top there, and maybe we'll have to, if you take the poster to some Kinko's or something, they'll print you a copy, you put it up in your place. So you get some posters up, and I have a lot of different posters from different shows I've been doing through the years in my house. And there's a lot. I've been doing this, many conferences a year since 2013. Wow. But I look forward to I work with other people. I did the Star Knowledge Conference with Chief Golden Light Eagle. I like to hook you up with all these people that I really like, that I know that you'll take off with. And I'd like you to meet Chief Golden Light Eagle, and I want you to work out with James Gilliland, and I want you to do some people that I don't know if I want to talk about that are secret, nice training that really, psychic stuff. Yeah, excellent.
We kind of talked a little bit about that. Yeah, I'm totally on board. And wow, you introduced me to some amazing people that, after the conference. That was great what we did, and some of the people I met there. So did you look at the message I sent you last year on Facebook? I sent you some messages. I never saw it. Okay, when you go back and look at the messages I sent you, you're going to see that I was trying to connect you with 𝗏𝙗 Cassidy. I was trying to connect you with 𝗏𝙗 Cassidy to do an interview, and then I was trying to connect you with Dr. Santa Rose Michael, and then I wanted you on our show in last year, and then but it wasn't meant to be yet. It wasn't meant to be yet. So then it materialized now. It was meant to be now, because now is people kind of managing me now, so things start to get through now. So yes, you get overwhelmed. It's like, oh yeah, I know. You told me you didn't mean to or this, and you don't have to explain to me. Yeah. When I did my interview with 𝗏𝙗 Cassidy, I had like 1,000 emails that I had to. I really feel guilty because I think I deleted 1,000 emails. I was just so frustrated. I didn't want to look through them, and I figured they'll find me if they want to hear from me. They'll find me. Right. Exactly. So, well, Eric, so I understand. It's been amazing speaking with you. I'm sure we're going to do more shows in the future. There's a lot of people who came in and watched. They say they want you to come back and talk more about this stuff. Good. I mean, you're like a bottomless pit for information. So my friends will tell you I'm full of it. So absolutely. Yeah. Right, I love you, and lots of love to the audience. Thank you guys for coming in. Thank you. Thank you again. We're bouncing around quite a bit. You guys were staying with us. Appreciate that. Good. I look forward to reading the comments and stuff and see what they were saying. And oh yeah, it's gonna be a lot. So good. What's the number of people watching right now? There was over 3,000 at one time. Wow. God bless you. God bless you. Oh, I wanted to say just in the closing, Michael watches you and me both. Archangel Michael and Raphael, and we got archangels watching us. So those are the two that I connect with quite a bit. That's cool. I think so too. Those are the two archangels that I'm connecting with too. And that's why I want to introduce you to the woman who told me that, and see if it's also Red Cloud and White Eagle and Gaia and some other, similar ones. Because it's funny, James Gilliland, when he
when he starts mentioning who he sees, because he can see all his past lives and all these things.
Wow.
He mentions all of mine, and he sees they're right there. And I'm like, oh my God, when that lady said all of these same ones, it verified for me that she knew she was the real deal.
That's
so
cool.
Good. We have a lot of fun coming in the future. And thanks to Brad Olson connecting you with me. Thank you, Brad Olson.
Yes, definitely. Brad's awesome.
Yeah, he is.
Friend, I will speak to you again. Lots of
Okay,
love.
good. I look forward to it. Good.